Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the support, Tarek. That's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we are back charting. Just the everyday thing, going live every single day at 9:45 Eastern time to help people understand the markets better and give my opinion on a bunch of different stocks. So a lot I want to go over today. Welcome Cardiac, welcome PXH, and to the 13 other people here. Thank you guys for the support. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and if you want to tip me, the link for that is the second link in the description, and it'll pretty much give like a little stream pop up if you tip me, but that's only if you want to. Aside from that, we're going to be looking at Fisker, Bitcoin, Workhorse, JMIA, Kern, Neo, and whatever you guys request. So if you want me to look anything, drop it in the chat. We already got Chris asking for Apple, Zoom, and Alibaba, and then we got Tarek asking for Ethereum, Commando asking for NLS, and then PXH asking for Link. I actually do think Link looks pretty good right now, so you guys are just gonna have to bear with me. It is gonna take me some time to get through all of those, obviously, because I want to do each one in depth and give people the best look on whatever they may own. So let's get started with Fisker. Obviously, one of the crazy plays in the last couple weeks, coming from about $9 all the way up to over 15 today, and that was all originated with this bullish butterfly harmonic that I posted when the price was $8.96. But we've gone over that many times. You actually hit the target of the butterfly today. So let's get some hype in the chat for the butterfly playing out. A lot of people doubted it, especially on Twitter, and this just proves them wrong. You know, it hit 896, which is a PCZ, and within like a week and a half, it hit the target for the butterfly. So super hyped about that. Crazy, like 60+% run, and now let's go into what it currently looks like and what the future may hold. So the first thing I want to notice or talk about is on the low time frame chart, super low time frame. It actually has a diamond pattern, which is a pretty neutral pattern, but basically if you break on like this top side, it could be bullish, and if you break on this bottom side, it could be bearish. Unfortunately, it did break on like the downside, but you never really got any follow through price action, and this is not a super bearish pattern, and also it's only a 30-minute chart. So really all this is pretty much implying is that you might get a retest of 1355. Now 1355 was just recently used as support 2 different times, literally today. And the real story with 1355 is that it was a support for literally like 2 months. 1355 was a major support for a long time. Ryan, I'm pretty happy with it too. And yeah, we got a lot of requests today, 21 people in here. So maybe we could get 21 likes on the stream. Literally just tap that like button if you're in the chat. Would appreciate it a lot. It just helps grow the channel, doing this all for free. And if you want to tip me, second link in the description. But yeah, 1355 on Fisker is a level that it should definitely hold. Let's go back to the 4-hour. If 1355 does hold, I think we're going to see 1499 next, which is just pretty much the next resistance. As you can see, it was used as resistance at like the end of September, beginning of October. So if 1355 does hold, we'll probably see 1499 next. And if it breaks 1499, there's really just not a lot of resistance after that. So a break of 1499 would be literally crazy, but it's not going to be easy. We will have to see. And if it unfortunately does fall into 1355, the next major support is 1251. Although we did get like a mini support on low time frame at like I think 1280. We fell down to 1280 today. No, we fell down to 1308 today, but then we fell down to 1280 yesterday after hours with some panic selling, which was due to like some form filings and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much the current read on Fisker. Let me look at the chat again. Thank you to the 23 people here. And here are the requests we have after the ones I already talked about. XPEV, they have an announcement Thursday apparently. VNCX, Rocket, VIAC, and BLDR. SBE. But let's see what Ryan and Print have to say. Ryan says, been resistant around 15 a few times, and 22 thrown out by analyst. Could be in the near future. How do you feel about this? I think the price target, the 22 price target I think is a little bit high in the short term, but I think it's low in the long term. Again, even though SPAC, or I'm sorry, I really apologize. I just said SPAC. I'm just so used to it. Don't hate me. But Fisker, although it did just have a 60% run in about a week and a half, which in my opinion was mainly due to the bullish butterfly, but also a bunch of different catalysts that you cannot ignore, like the Biden election, like the merger, like the bell ringing, just a whole bunch of things. 22 is going to be hard to get to. The second target of the butterfly is actually 1821, which was pretty much the highest point it had before this whole entire leg down. But yeah, that's what I think about the 22 price target. And then $15 resistance is real. As you can see, $15 was resistance pretty much this whole entire week and a half or 2 weeks. $15 was resistance. So not surprised that it was failing to break over that today. And then Prince said, are you adding and holding all of your shares of Fisker for long run, or holding some long term and trading some? So personally, I sold my call options on Monday. I sold it at like the highest point of Monday. So today was Tuesday, so I sold my call options when the price was like around $14 on Monday. Got out of my call options, which I was holding for like 2 weeks or something like that. And then in terms of my long-term position, I have not sold. I actually added to my long-term position today when the price went down to 1308. So I literally bought, I increased my position when the price fell down 1308. And I also have one more buy order for 1251. I don't know if that buy order will hit, but if it does, break under 1355. I think 1251 could be next. So I just have a buy order there in case it does. But yeah, just holding my long-term position again. Even though it had a crazy run to this point, I still think long-term is going to be at a much higher price than $14. And if you want to know why I think that, I have a whole entire breakdown video on my channel, so you can take a look at that. But yeah, that is Fisker. Now we're gonna, wow, guys, I think we're breaking a record. 27 people in here. Everybody just drop a like. Free analysis. I'm gonna run through every single one of these. Yeah, this is gonna be a longer stream for sure. Shout out to the people here. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you want to send me a tip, it's the second link in the description. Just getting some chat engagement. If you want me to look at anything, drop in the chat, but we already have a lot to look at, so let's get started. I'm probably gonna have to skip over a couple of them, so if I go to a chart and off the rip I just don't think it looks good, I'm probably just gonna skip it. Do not take it personally. I just have over like 15 things to look at, and there's 27 people here. So if something doesn't look good really quick, I'm probably just going to skip it. I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but there is no emotions in trading. So we're going to get started with Apple. They had an event today. They released the MacBook Pro. I'm actually getting the MacBook Pro that they released today or announced today. So let's look at Apple. Apple, double bottom. I already have it pretty much charted out. So it has the double bottom, no bullish divergence on the daily, and no bullish divergence on the 4 hour. What I don't like, however, is usually on a double bottom, the price should just do this. But instead of just the price going up towards the neckline of the double bottom, it's actually starting to fall a bit. You can see it a lot more clearer on the 4 hour. That's not really what you want to see during a double bottom, so it kind of does worry me. Also, a gap fill to 111, and as I said on my Saturday video, I originally thought that tech could pull back quite a bit because of the tax proposals by Biden, and that's what we've been seeing pretty much all week. A lot of tech companies pulling back like crazy, so be careful with that. And if somehow the double bottom does play out, the measured move would pretty much just be all-time highs, but you also have a resistance at 137, which was the previous all-time high. So that is Apple. I will look at Fubo, I will look at Microsoft, SNDL, and Pfizer. Appreciate the support, everybody. Remember, drop a like if you support what I'm doing. Now we're gonna move on to Zoom, another tech company that dropped a lot this week. Crazy pullback on Zoom. So I don't know why my computer's lagging. No divergence on the daily, and I doubt you have any on the 4 hour. You do not. In terms of support, 346. And if 346 cannot hold, there is a gap fill to about like 326. So those are your supports. No structure, just a straight line down, and no divergence. So if you're not in it, probably wait. It could definitely drop lower, and if you are in it, take caution. Obviously it's dropped crazy from 600, but at the same time, look how, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let me just fix that. All my cryptos showing up for you guys. But yeah, at the same time it did run up from $52 to 600. So like about a 10x or something like that. So it could easily continue to drop. But that is Zoom. Now we're gonna move on to Alibaba. And it broke out of this channel. Not good at all, if I'm being honest. Yeah, Zoom is pulling back quite a bit, Ryan. Not too good for them, but they did have a crazy run. So yeah, Alibaba broke out of this channel. I actually warned about this on stream not too long ago. Thank you for the subscription, Deontay. I think like 80% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if that's one of you, literally just tap that button for free analysis every weeknight. So yeah, I broke out of this flag. Obviously super bearish. It gapped down. And I have no clue what I was doing here. So don't even look at that. I think I was showing what a potential scenario could be. Was like hidden bullish divergence, but currently it's actually at a very big support level, which is literally currently where the price closed at today. As you can see, it was support all throughout September. Thank you for the subscription, Ryan. and it was also a resistance all throughout July and like the first half of August. So 265 is a big level. It could have a nice little maybe 5% bounce off this level, but if it doesn't hold this level, it's probably going to come down to 240 next. So yeah, look for a bounce here, and if the bounce doesn't happen, probably 240 in time, but I think it could get a bounce pretty easily. We'll have to see. Now we're gonna look at Ethereum, which is right here. So this is a crypto, and Ethereum looks great. It broke 396 and just kept on running. 396 was resistance for about over a month, and I'm not seeing any seller exhaustion. Oh, it was an ascending triangle, so I did have that charted on the 4-hour. It broke out the ascending triangle, and the measured move of that ascending triangle will be, it's actually pretty close. It's about 479, and then your previous all-time high could also be resistance at, not previous all-time high, I'm sorry, Ethereum has been much higher prices, but your previous swing high was 489. So pretty much 478 to 489 could be a reversal level. Although I do like what the chart is showing right here. Let me look at the chat again. Yeah, I'll look at a link for sure in a second. Yeah, Ethereum broke out of this like little pennant, very clear. Broke out of it literally on this 4-hour candle, so it could definitely run. Just again, the place to enter was much lower. The place to enter was during the ascending triangle, which I think I showed on stream, but I'm not sure. So yeah, but for those who are in, those are the resistances. Now we're gonna look at NLS and then Link. Shout out to the 21 people here. Appreciate all the support, guys. So this is NLS. No divergence on the 4-hour, nothing on the daily. And if I'm being completely straightforward with you, no support until like $16. So definitely be careful. And it almost, I mean, it came down to $17.50 today. Ryan's pretty much asking me what I'm keeping an eye on. Just to give you the briefest answer: Fisker, Workhorse, JMIA, GameStop, and Rocket. Those are probably my top 4 picks right now, but don't just go and buy them. They're a lot more complicated than that, and they all have a decent amount of risk. So probably do your own research, but that's just off the top of my head. And I will look at Tesla. Dominico, just give me a little bit. I have a lot of requests to go to. So NLS, your support is $16. Not much aside from that, and also had a double top. So probably be careful. Just pretty much double topped, and it broke the neckline. The neckline of the double top was 2078, and it closed under that. So it's pretty much in a bear trend right now. Now we're gonna look at Chainlink, a crypto. GameStop, yeah, for next gen releases, and their chart looks pretty interesting. So this is the link. I originally posted it. I probably should show it on the 4-hour. Yeah. Originally, I don't think I posted it, but I went over it on stream because somebody requested it, and I did that when the price was like $10.31. Since they requested that and I charted it, it went up 30%, and look where it's struggling to break the resistance I have pretty much have had on my chart for a long time, which is 1337, and that was your resistance all throughout September, or like the first half of September, and it was also your resistance before the run up to $20. So if it can break 1337, you're probably going to see it test this upsloping resistance, but if it can't, it could probably pull back. Again, the place to enter, like truly, and I went over this on stream, the real place to enter was when it was touching the horizontal support, the demand line of the channel, and it had classic bullish divergence all at 1031, and it's up 30% since then. So that was like the best place to enter. Right now it's probably the place to take profit unless it breaks 1337. If it breaks 1337, you could probably see 1449 next. That is the link. Let's move on to XPEV. Remember, everybody, drop a like if you support what I'm doing. We're just vibing and charting. And follow me on Twitter if you want live updates. So yeah, XPEV, crazy. I actually charted the Fibonacci, I think last week, after it already broke $29. And the reason I charted the Fibonacci there was because it was at the 4236 Fibonacci extension. If you want to learn about Fibonacci, it's course video number 6 on my channel. I have a full free course if you go to playlist on my YouTube channel. But yeah, it reversed at the 4236, which is pretty much the last Fibonacci extension. So a lot of assets really probably failed to get there because you really have to go up a lot in price to break that. And it already is up a lot in price, or it was at that level. No bearish divergence on the 4-hour, nothing on the daily, so I'm gonna have to zoom in. The 1-hour though has hidden bullish divergence, so that is pretty decent. So XPEV has their earnings on Thursday, so that will obviously affect the price in either a good or a bad way. But one thing I have noticed, and again, this is just me talking off the top of my head, I can be completely wrong, but a lot of stocks that have crazy 100% runs before earnings tend to fall after earnings, even if they have a decent earnings for some reason. It's like a sell the news type of event. It already had the big run that might have already been priced in, so just take caution with earnings. And it is also under the VWAP. So 29.92 could be a support. If 29.92 doesn't hold, there's a gap fill to like 27.50. And then in terms of a pattern, I'd probably say maybe something like that, like a falling wedge. Although this is not the place you want to see a falling wedge, it can easily fall under it to the downside. But the one thing I do like is the 1-hour hidden bullish divergence. So just see if it can break the VWAP tomorrow. If it can't, it could probably come back down to 29. GameStop Q3, yeah, agreed with that, Ryan. So that was XPV. GameStop probably will have a bad Q3, unless they already had it. Let me take a look actually. GameStop. Alright, their earnings are on November 25th, so Q3 was probably not good. Obviously, GameStop during COVID, not good. But Q4 probably be good with the new consoles coming out and all the new games coming out. So the fundamentals definitely are there. And FOTI, I will definitely take a look at JMIA. It was a great day trade for me today. Really quick profits on that one, so I will get into it and talk about what I think its future could hold. Fisker, Fubo, and Opti. Yeah, I've looked at Opti a couple times on the stream. It had a crazy run for sure. And then Fubo I heard about on Twitter, which I will also go over at some point. So on GameStop, let me just delete all of that junk. Not junk, but previous work. So this is pretty much GameStop. Let me go to the 4-hour. And what I really like about GameStop is that it created hidden bullish divergence. Although the momentum is already starting to wane, be careful with that. And then you also have this upsloping support line. So I think there's a decent chance it could bounce off of like 1070-ish. Because you pretty much had that 4-hour hidden bullish divergence that took a long time to form. And then you also have hidden bullish divergence on the daily chart. So when you get bullish divergence on 2 different time frames, that is very strong. And over here, you don't only have it on your MACD, but GameStop also has hidden bullish divergence on the RSI, which pretty much means you made higher lows on price, but you made lower lows on your MACD, which implies price continuation to the upside. And if this upsloping support can hold on GameStop, it could probably see about 1280 again. like right there. Probably see 1275. So not too bad on GameStop. I'm definitely going to be looking at it tomorrow. But obviously keep in mind earnings are in about 2 weeks from now. So probably get out before then if it does bounce off of 1070. And then we got Beyond and OTRK in the chat. Where did I leave off? I think I left off at XPV. Cardiac, I'm only going to go over one of the requests you made because you did request 4 different things. So I'm going to go look at Rocket. So Rocket is working on a breakout. I believe they had earnings today, like before or pre-market, and they held up during the day, pretty much broke even. 4-hour divergence is starting to wane, and it is at a resistance level right now. Again, this was a trade setup I posted on my Twitter and went up like 13% 2 days later. But it's also in this falling wedge, and it's just working on a breakout. It just really cannot get above the resistance. So that is your 4-hour, and your daily also has classic bullish divergence, which looks good. So I think there's a decent chance it can break out pretty soon. And if it does break out, probably $23.94 and $25 could be next. But obviously, the risk is that it doesn't break out because anything can happen. And if it doesn't break out, there's a lot of room to fall with no major support until like 1980. That would be like the support on Rocket. So, or like $20. So yeah, you're really looking for a breakout like literally tomorrow. High risk, high reward on Rocket. Good earnings. They approved a $1 billion stock buyback program, says Print. Are you talking about Rocket right now, Print? Because I haven't looked at the earnings or anything, but the price did hold up. Ryan, I'm using TradingView to chart. If you want a link to that, it is in the description. Pretty much has everything I use, so I highly recommend it, and it is free. So yeah, $1 billion stock buyback program. I'm not too educated on how shares work in terms of when companies have buybacks and increase the float, so definitely do research on how that could affect the price. But yeah, good earnings with the falling wedge and divergence on the daily. It could definitely see higher prices. That is Rocket. Now we're going to move on to let's see, Fubo, another one that a lot of people have been talking about on Twitter, especially today. Obviously, the macro trend is horrible, like literally garbage, and the volume is not great either in terms of like the actual volume, aside from like the short term, but the long term volume wasn't really that good. And here's actually what I'm looking at on Fubo on the daily. It has classic bearish divergence, so take caution, which means it made a higher high on price, but it made a lower high on the MACD, and it also did the same exact thing on the RSI. So what that pretty much implies is buyer exhaustion on the daily time frame. Now let's look at the 4-hour. And I think my chart might have just glitched out. This might be a new stock, and it was just showing me that downtrend, so I might just be completely wrong on that. The good thing on this chart though is that it's at an all-time high pretty much. Usually, or generally speaking, an all-time high is a good thing for the short term, and an all-time low is a bad thing for the short term. Because when you're at an all-time high, that means there's no real resistance aside from Fibonacci. And when you're at an all-time low, that means there's no real support aside from Fibonacci. So being at an all-time high in the short term is good. In the long term, obviously, you can see much lower prices. And it's just currently at this resistance level, which is 1565. Literally where it closed today is the resistance. If it opens higher tomorrow, who knows where it can go. And then let me pull out the Fibonacci because there's really not much else to do at an all-time high. So let's do it like that. So it already passed the 1618. The 2618 is about $16.80. So that could be the next resistance if it does break $15.65. and it could definitely get a MACD crossover to green on the 4-hour, but there's just not a lot of data to look at. So technical analysis really does not help too much on Fubo right now. And I think the daily is actually showing me whatever the old ticker used to be, because I'm pretty sure this is like a new company. So whatever company had Fubo before, I think that's which data it's showing me, because it's just so messed up. It's just not actual price action, I believe, or I could be wrong. Correct me if I am wrong. But that is Fubo. After hours was $21. Wow. Alright, so thank you for telling me that. That is crazy. $21. Alright, that pretty much changes everything. Obviously, I had no idea of what the after hours price was. So it broke 1565 and then went to 21. So we're gonna take out pretty much everything right here. Literally gonna eat my own words because I was misinformed. But thank you to Ryan and Joe for correcting me. So apparently the price went to 21, and that is actually let's try it a little bit wrong. $21 is literally your 4.236 extension. What was the other one I was looking at? I think it was, alright, so let's take a look at another chart that hit a 4.236 Fibonacci extension. XPEV. When XPEV hit its 4.236 extension, it fell down 16%. So that is currently what Fubo is at. But then again, it's at an all-time high, and it has not confirmed price action to the downside yet. So in this situation, if the price is $21, don't expect anything, because it can obviously dump a lot based on how much it already is up. But at the same time, it's at an all-time high, so it could keep running, like how we saw a lot of different stocks do that this year. So don't expect anything, just react to whatever the price does and manage your risk. But I will look at it tomorrow. It's on my watch list right at the top, and I'm pretty intrigued to see what it will do. But that is Fubo. Now we're gonna look at, I'm gonna skip Microsoft and SNE just for time purposes. Sorry for that, Malachi, but I will look at Pfizer. If you want to see Microsoft, I believe I did it on stream literally last night, so you could probably check that out. It's on my channel. Let's look at Pfizer, which announced their COVID vaccine apparently, and not good price action. It really needed to hold $39 for a continuation of the rally, and it fell into 39. 39 was your resistance from April all the way up until this pump. It could not break over 39, and it did break over 39, but then it fell right back under. So not too good on Pfizer. No bearish divergence though. And then you still do have daily classic bullish divergence. Just be careful, because there's literally a gap fill to 36.70. So be careful with that, and you're also under 39. So I would honestly say this currently looks more bearish than bullish, but at the same time, the fundamentals is what is really changing the price right now on Pfizer. So honestly, look at the fundamentals more than the technicals currently, because obviously it has a greater effect on it, and that is pretty much why it ran up so much in price. That is Pfizer. Oh, you actually have like the Fubo subscription? I'll definitely take a look at what they're doing. I just like to see new companies popping off, so definitely take a look at Fubo TV. That was Pfizer. And then really quick, Dominica requested Tesla, which should be on my watch list if I can find it. Let me just look it up. Alright, Tesla, it is in this range currently, but on the 4-hour it's in a ascending triangle. And I would honestly say the best way to look at it would probably be See, like, it kind of technically did break out to the downside, but it's right at the 618 golden retrace, or it's almost there, and it's still making a higher low. So it's very much still in an uptrend. It's just you really can't plot the demand line perfectly here because the higher lows are not really symmetrical. But as long as it continues to make higher lows, it's still in a bull trend. And remember, don't usually fight the trend unless a reversal is being displayed on the chart. And I don't really see a major reversal being implied right now. So again, this is just probably the best way to look at it. Yeah, I'll probably look at Fisker again at some point, but it was literally like the first 5 minutes of the stream. If you want to just rewind, you can clearly do that right now, because obviously nothing's changed as the market is closed. So probably just rewind, Dominico. So yeah, Tesla's just making higher lows, and the sell wall is around like $465. So as long as it continues to make high lows, it's fine. Just be careful with the MACD crossover on the 4-hour. And then the daily, no divergence. And it also did get a MACD crossover. So it could easily probably come back down and test 395, which is the golden retrace. But again, it's just making higher lows. So currently it's just in a bull trend, doing its thing, pulling back a little bit, as most things do. But that is Tesla. Now we're gonna look at Beyond, which was another day trade I had today. Again, I posted JMIA and Beyond on my Twitter today, which were day trades I took that gave me a pretty decent amount of profit. So if you want live trade setups and trade updates, follow me on Twitter. It's in the bottom left of your screen at Champion Vibe. So let's take a look at Beyond. Perfect day trade. So let's go to the 15-minute because it was a day trade. And here was the idea. I posted Beyond on my Twitter when the price was $121.75 with a target of $129. As you can see, that literally happened. So this was, I'm not even going to go to the high of the day. I'm just going to go to my target. It was a 7.5% day trade. Literally happened in a matter of like 2 hours. And after it hit the target, it went a little bit higher, but then what happened? It pulled all the way back down. Now, why was 129 my target? Well, if we look on the 1 hour, 129 was the previous support. Let's look at the 4 hour actually. Alright. Let's move a little bit to the right. Okay. 129 was resistance all of January and the beginning of February, and then it turned into support pretty much all throughout the summer, even though there was the 121 support, which was why 121 was the buying area of the day trade today, and then 129 was the selling area. So yeah, Beyond perfect day trade. 7.5%. It had a ascending broadening wedge, which is actually not a bullish pattern, but it was at the demand line of it, which implied that it could hit a resistance before pulling back and breaking out to the downside. So that's literally what it did. Perfect day trade that I posted on Twitter, like literally played out to the T. But now let's look at the future for Beyond. Obviously a major gap down with terrible earnings. I think it is very good that it closed over 121. Because again, 121 was the support all summer, so you definitely want to hold 121. Any 4 hour close under 121 can probably send it to literally like $100, which there's a gap fill to 102. But if it could hold above 121 for long enough, I would probably say you're probably going to retest 132. And if 132 breaks, maybe you could see 135. As you can see, 135 was the resistance over here. So yeah, there's just so many levels on Beyond in terms of support and resistances, which is why you see like 10 different lines on your screen right now. Just look at all the levels, they all mean something for either support or resistance or both, and trade using those levels. No divergence on the 4-hour or the daily. So again, you just want to stay over 121 on Beyond, and if it can't, it probably will see lower prices, but currently it's holding and it's fine for now. But that is Beyond. I already looked at Alibaba KM. It is towards the beginning of the stream. Just rewind until you see it, and I will look at BYDDF once I get to the others. So now we're gonna look at OTRK. Thank you to the 19 people here. Remember, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Like 80% of my viewers aren't even subscribed, so let's get that number up. And then drop a like if you support what I'm doing. Literally just takes one click, and it really helps me out with helping to teach even more people about technical analysis and spreading the education. Again, just doing this all for free, and hopefully I know the Fisker trade helped out a lot of people. Hopefully the rest of these trades are also helping people out. If you want live trades, go on my Twitter. I posted 2 different day trades today that both crushed it. So now let's move on. I look at the 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily, but usually I only look at it depends on how I'm trading. I usually swing trade, so for swing traders, I'd say the best time frame to look at is the 4-hour and daily. But if I am day trading or just like short-term swing trading, I will also look at the 1-hour if I need to. Also, I look at the 1-hour if there's nothing major on the 4-hour and daily. So it just depends on the situation. So yeah, let's move on to, I'm trying to see what's like next up. Oh, we have OTRK right on the screen right now. The MACD is not bad. It's making higher lows on the MACD, but no confirmed divergence by any means. And then in terms of like a pattern, you obviously have a resistance line right here. So maybe it's just like a channel. Let me try out a channel, see how that looks. So if you line it up like that, perfect. It's a perfect channel. This is pretty much like a bull flag, if I'm being honest, but a really large one, so it could take a really long time to play out. And usually the way to look at a bull flag is 5 touches. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, it could maybe break out in the short term, but by the short term I mean like a month or 2. This is not like a day trade in my opinion, although it could offer a day trade. It has 7% day to day, but I think the bigger play here would be long term. However, what I don't like about OTRK was the break under 57.80. That was a support for a really long time. Since the middle of September, that was the support, and it broke under that, but it did close over that today. So it kind of got back there in the channel, so maybe you could see it test the resistance line at around like $64 sometime in the next couple of weeks, or maybe earlier. And then also keep in mind there is a gap fill to 65.30. But yeah, it's just currently in this channel right now. No divergence on the daily, and no divergence on the 4-hour. So that was OTRK. Now we're gonna move on to OPTI and then BYDDF. So I have looked at OPTI multiple times, and it's a sorry, just talking a lot, my voice starts to get a little bit exhausted, but we're gonna power through it. OPTI, oh my gosh, is a pretty simple chart. 1.9 cents is the biggest support I see, and then 5.5 cents is just weird numbers to look at. I don't really look at penny stocks that often, but obviously this ran up like crazy. 5.5 cents is like the short-term resistance. And then in terms of the 4-hour, no bearish divergence, but the MACD is going back down towards red. And then the daily, it had hidden bullish divergence, which I think I showed on stream some time ago, but it definitely did have hidden bullish divergence. And that was created pretty much when it was 1.9 cents, and after it created hidden bullish divergence, it went up 314%. There was probably some sort of fundamental catalyst, but again, if you want to learn about divergence, which in my opinion is the most useful indicator for trading or swing trading, it is course video number 8 on my channel if you go to playlists and then my free trading course. But yeah, crazy run after divergence. But again, there's a gap fill to like 2.4 cents, and there's just not a lot of support here. Maybe 3.3 cents could be a support, so I'll also keep that in mind. 3.3 cents could also be like a bounce level. It was just a previous resistance. And Ryan's saying they got a $2 billion contract, so fundamentally that is good. Just be careful, because until it's out of the downtrend, who knows? But then again, I don't really know what the price went to after hours. Just trying to see if there's anything major to work with. There's no bearish divergence, but the MACD is crossing, or is about to cross back over to red. It might not, we'll have to see. But unfortunately, just maybe I'm just trying to give you every single level I could look at. And then let's zoom in. So there are your levels. 5.5 cents is the biggest resistance, and then the supports are 4 cents and 3.3 in terms of like the local area. But that is OPTI. Trying to see BYDDF. Okay, so appreciate the support, Ryan. Just to confirm, who asked for that? KM, are you still here, KM? Is this the chart you want me to look at? Because it is very weird. There's pretty much 3,000 gaps on the chart, and there's not much I can do with it, so just confirm if this is the chart you want me to look at. But until then, we're going to look at SNDL by Nico, which I believe is a weed stock, if I'm not wrong. Just had a crazy run. Be careful, because earnings are on November 11th, and weed stocks are currently pulling back. ACB dropped like 16% after hours. So yeah, be careful. No divergence on the 4-hour. It did have a bullish pin bar on the daily candle though, which is good. But then again, earnings can literally make it go either way. So honestly, I don't even really want to give you an accurate reading, because I can't give you one until the earnings happen. So just take caution with the earnings, and I could send it either way. And then after the earnings on November 11th or tomorrow, probably hop back in the stream, let me know how it went, and I'll take a look at the chart then. So now we're going to go back to BYDDF, KM. If you want a straightforward answer, wow, I really can't look at this on the 4-hour or on the daily, because there's literally like 3,000 different gaps on this chart right now, and it just had a clear top at $25. So probably $20 will be next. Again, it's just so hard to chart something like this accurately, because of how what's the word for it, how low the probability would be for the technical analysis to play out. Whatever is driving up the price so much has to be fundamental, because the technicals just really don't show anything on this chart. But if you want me to look at the weekly, we can do that. I'm gonna try and use Fibonacci, but I have no clue what Fibonacci extension is at. Okay. Alright, this is gonna be crazy, but that's what this chart is. This chart is pretty crazy. There's literally no support level in terms of a horizontal support until $10.47, and that is probably why discombobulated. I like the word rooster. That was definitely the word to use for this chart. Yeah, I mean, when you have a massive run up from $3 or $4 to 25, it's just hard to gain a lot of support if it's a straight line up. Maybe if you made like peaks and valleys on the way up, it could be easier, but it was just a straight line up, so there is no support until 1050. And then the resistances are just the Fibonacci extensions. And the next one is 3618. So there's your support and resistance, and they're literally 170% away from each other because of how crazy this chart is. So I really just can't give you an accurate reading because it can go either way. Now we're gonna look at SELB, and then Eric, I will cover Workhorse for sure. I'm looking at Workhorse very closely. I think it could offer a trade. I just want to make sure I get the entry right on it, because there is a decent amount of risk in the short term, which we saw in the market open today, but it did have a nice rally throughout the day. So let's look at SELB. And remember, for the 16 people here, if you support what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if you want to tip me, it's the second link in the description. That'll also come with a stream pop-up with whatever message you put in on the tip, and it's all done through PayPal. It could literally be $1 or nothing, whatever you want to do. It's just there if you want to, because people keep telling me I should charge money for doing this, but that's just not what I'm gonna do. I'm just here to teach people, and if they want to tip me, they can, but I'm not gonna make them pay to watch me chart. But I appreciate the 17 people here. If there's one thing I do really want you to do, is hit the like button, and let's look at SELB. So resistance is like that. Let me just make the color orange. Resistance is over there, and then support is right here at 138. That's your weekly. I literally forgot I was on the weekly, so probably don't even remember what I just did. That was really stupid. Yeah, Rooster, all of that financial disclaimer and stuff is in the description. It's right there. And nothing either ways, I never say anything is certain. Like, I've probably had over 300 different warnings on my streams about how nothing is ever certain. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously I'm not a financial advisor. I'm literally a college student just trying to help people out, and I do get things wrong about 25% of the time. I'm not perfect, but I'm just trying to help people out, and the other 75% of the time is great. And as long as you're managing your risk, you can gain a lot more on the 75% of the time you're correct than what you lose on the 25% of the time you're wrong. And the way to do that is making sure you have a good position size, not too low, not too high, and then also using stop losses. But yeah, obviously, literally, if you don't want to trust anything I say, don't. I'm just here trying to help people. There's been crazy trades in the last couple of weeks, ranging from 10% profit to like 70% profit, and I have had probably 3 or 4 trades fail. That's why you have stop losses, and that's why you have to do your own research, because I'm looking at so many different things. I just don't have enough time to really look into these companies. I'm just looking at the charts. Really quickly, to give more probability to people, what do I typically set my stop loss at? typically I set my stop loss right under a previous support. So whatever the last support was, I set my stop loss 2 or 3% under that support. And usually it depends on my position. If I have a larger position, obviously my stop loss is tighter, and if I have a smaller position, my stop loss is more flexible. And then in terms of like when I will have a larger and looser position, for long-term trades I have lower positions, and then for short-term trades I have higher position sizes. That's just my personal preference, and you have to make your own. Again, everything is just subject to your risk tolerance, and nothing is ever certain. Any trade can fail, so always be prepared for the worst. So there are my what's the word, liabilities. I don't know, it's in the description. It's been in the description since video 1. So that's just a little rant, but thank you for the reminder, Rooster, because I think with the 17 people here, that would probably be a good time to say that if you didn't know that already. And thank you for the fire emojis, Nico. Let's keep it going. SELB. Probably just a descending triangle on the 4-hour. It's just making lower highs on price, and the real support is at 146. But that is a very large long-term pattern. In terms of the short term, probably pull out some Fibonacci here. Earnings were on November 5th, and it's been going down since. So if we use Fibonacci from low to high, it's approaching a 382 retrace. It actually bounced off the 382. Your waiver, keep rolling. Ha. There. Liabilities, you know how it goes. I would honestly say, in terms of like the really short term, I'm just trying to look at the different time frames for you. On the 1 hour, you have a pennant, which is pretty clear. Something probably like that, which is a neutral pattern. So just watch, because it can break out to either side. So yeah, that's like your 1 hour chart in terms of like the current structure. And then your more long-term structure, like super long-term structure, is a descending wedge, which is not bullish, it is actually bearish, and it's already at a really low level. If it ever does fall under 138, which obviously you really should not be holding it till then, you should probably have a stop loss much before then, as we just talked about liability. I'm just saying, if in like 3 years it falls under 138, or maybe even before then, it'll probably be doomed. But then again, that's just my opinion. Now I'm in that liability mindset because Rooster brought it up, but it is a fair point. So that's your 4 hour. Let me see if there's any divergence. No divergence on the 4 hour, and no divergence on the daily, but be careful, because the MACD is about to go, or could go, back to red, literally one little tick away from going to red. If you have a bad day tomorrow, it'll probably go to red, so be careful with that. But yeah, this is your current structure, just a pennant, pretty neutral. Let me just make sure I got through everything I still have to do. Alright, so now I got Workhorse, IIPR, and then DIS, or Disney. Those are going to be the last 3 for the day, and then I'm going to call it there, because we're already an hour in. So let's move on to IIPR. I like this song, it's pretty vibe, champion vibe. Hey man, thank you for the support, KM. And I hope to see you more often in the streams, bro. Appreciate it. Oh wow, so this actually had hidden bullish divergence on the daily, which is charted right there. And since it created hidden bullish divergence, it went up 44%. and that was with the earnings, or good earnings, I assume, which is what TradingView is telling me. Again, do your own research, but it is up since then. And then you have a big support at 140. So that is your support. Let's move on to the 4-hour. No divergence there. Just be careful because the MACD is starting to move down a little bit. You also have a gap fill to 136. So be careful with that. And let's move on to the 1-hour because there's not much on the daily and the 4-hour. The 1-hour has hidden bullish divergence, which is very good. If it moves, if the MACD island turns back to green, that is a great sign. Hidden bullish divergence, which is what is on this chart, implies continuation to the upside or downside, depending on if it's bullish, hidden bear, bullish. If it's oh my gosh, I'm trying to, like, these terms just get me sometimes. If it's hidden bullish divergence or hidden bearish divergence, it implies price continuation to the upside or downside. And if it's classic bullish divergence or classic bearish divergence, it implies price reversal to the upside or downside most of the time. And then your pattern on the 1-hour, probably something like this. Just super simple. Yeah, that's probably the best look I can give you. The 4-hour and the daily just don't show a lot, but the 1-hour is kind of bullish. It's right around the breakout point, and the VWAP is right under it at about 152. And then it also has 1-hour hidden bullish divergence. There we go, I got it. First try, for sure. And that is IIPR. For the 15 people here, I think this is the longest I've stayed over 15 viewers, so I really appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I talked about it before, but like 80% of my viewers aren't even subscribed. Come on, guys. Literally just tap that red button. Not too hard. That's IIPR though. Now we're going to move on to... I don't think I'm missing anything aside from that. Hey, appreciate the support. Zuko's Mind. I think Disney is next. If I missed something that I didn't already say I was going to skip, let me know. But this is probably going to be the last one for today. If you want live updates tomorrow, follow me on Twitter at ChampionVibe. I actually posted 2 different day trades today, which was Beyond and JMIA, and those crushed it today for the day trade. Not talking about the midterm or long term. But yeah, Disney had a gap up. I think they gapped up because of the COVID vaccine news. Basically what's been happening this week is the tech companies have been dropping, or most of them, and I actually talked about that on Saturday. I think the reason the tech companies were dropping and may continue got a little thing in my throat, may continue to drop, is the fact of Biden potentially winning the presidency. I don't want to get too political. Some people say he won it, some people say he didn't. That's your opinion. But with that Biden news, a lot of tech companies have dropped because of the proposed higher tax rates. And then with the COVID news, a lot of like retail companies like Disney, like food chains, like clothing stores have been going up because vaccine news could mean that they can get customers back on their property. So I think that's why we've seen tech companies fall, which I talked about literally last Saturday before they even fell. I pretty much called that. And I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying you just have to understand how the fundamentals can affect the technicals and how the technicals can affect the macro in terms of price action. But yeah, Disney did gap up to start off the week. And it kind of looks like a breakaway gap, if I'm being honest. I don't think that'll fill anytime soon. Currently it's holding the VWAP on the 1-hour very well. Hey, appreciate it, Nico. and no divergence. Just keep in mind earnings are November 12th, and who knows how that will be with their lower park attendance rate this year, obviously. But they did also make their streaming service, so that might have brought in revenue, so obviously it can go either way. But no divergence on the 4-hour. And then in terms of support and resistance, the support is 137, which was your resistance in the beginning of September. So that's your support. And then your resistances, well, you already broke 147, which was good, but you did not really close any candle above it. But your real resistance is 153, which I believe was the previous all-time high. So pretty straightforward chart now that it gapped up, and I think it might be a breakaway gap, but I could be wrong for sure. If it can hold 137 for long enough, you'll probably see a run up back to 146, and if it can break the previous high from this week, 153 could easily be next for Disney. Just take caution with the earnings and the major gap, even though I don't think it will fill anytime soon. But yeah, to 11 people still here, really appreciate you guys coming out. We already had 122 playbacks on the stream, which I think is my highest ever for a stream, so really appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and follow me on Twitter for live updates and trade setups. But yeah, everybody have a good night, trade safe tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9:45 EST. Peace out.